Emotions high right now, if you can't tell.
These are games you can really build off of.
The ghosts are exorcised.
Your boy lit up those New England skies, Michael. Are the Cowboys Super Bowl bound? He's setting records against Bill Belichick's defense.
Absolutely, this team right now, that offense. And I love that piece where CeeDee Lamb is.
Yeah, bye-bye.
See, I'm not saying he's waving goodbye. I'm saying he's saying hello, so far. Hello, so far. We're on our way. See, that's what I saw when I was waving and everything. Because I saw, as we go through a season, we're asking the question first. Does this team have the skill? Yes, they do. They got the skill. They got the talent. Can this skill match this system? Yes, it does. It comes together well. And then as you go through it, you're looking for the team to match that will. You got the skill match the system. What kind of will does this team have? And yesterday's game was about will. It was about connectivity. Dak Prescott talked about it in the post game. He said, we were not worried. We stayed together. Yep. We have a great bond. We play for each other. Those are the words that connect the team and take a team from being a team to a family. And no matter what, how tough it gets, whenever the family goes in a tough situation, they held up. 5 lead changes at the end of regulation and in overtime. And no, you flip the coin. Once we get this ball, it's over. We're not taking it down and get a field goal. We're not beating you softly. We're going to pound you inside with Zeke, beat you outside with Pollard. We're going to drop passes inside the Schultz, beat you inside and out with 88. We are covering every blade of grass all the way to the Super Bowl, and you can't cover every blade of grass. And any blade you leave uncovered, Dak Prescott will see it and exploit it. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys will be in SoFi looking so fine, boy, for the Super Bowl.
You know, it's interesting because, I'm looking forward. I hope that you're in Dallas. I'm literally am willing to grab you, our colleague here, former colleague Darren Woodson.
Yep.
Miss that brother. I want to gather all you got. I want to come to Dallas and watch the playoff game with y'all. I want to be in attendance. You understand? I hope that you can get there because, when you lose, you understand what I'm saying? When you lose, I want to be right there to see it in person because it's interesting that I listen to y'all talk.
I can't go with you because they'll be throwing eggs, garbage,
They're going to want to. They're going to want to. I told you about that time when y'all lost in the playoffs to the Rams, right? And I was at the JW Marriott downtown in LA Live, and I stood outside. I stood in the lobby, and the Cowboys fans go, I said, don't y'all want a picture? Come on, come take a picture with me. And they were running from me. They were running. They were scurrying away. It was hilarious. One of the great moments I had, And I'm watching and I'm listening to everybody talking right now. And I'm just saying, okay, everything's flowing nice. It's real easy when you're going up against the Eagles, the Panthers, the Giants, and the New England Patriots. But when you're running to Aaron Rodgers, when you're running to Tom Brady, when you're running to Kyler Murray, I'm just wondering, I'm just sitting there saying, I'm listening to all of y'all talk this gibberish right now. It's okay. It's all right. This is your time right now because y'all are flowing. The offense looks prolific. Your defense is still shaky. Trayvon Diggs ain't going to have an interception every game now.
I don't know about that. I don't know. He's already got one every week.
Excuse me. He's not going to have an interception every game. It won't happen. It won't happen. He ain't prime time. It ain't happening.
That's exactly who he is.
That's not going to happen. He is special. He is special. He's my defensive player of the year. I'm not taking anything away from him. But I'm telling you right now.
Talking out of both sides of your mouth with that.
If you think that this defense is going to be there and they're not going to be every bit as exploited as Dallas's offense exploits opposing defense. Watch.
The defense is getting better.
They're getting better. They're getting better. They're getting better. They're getting better.
How
about that play caller? How about that too? How about clock management? How about that?
You didn't go to the right area. The coach.
Diggs, don't listen to this mess.
Right.
You jumped that. Don't worry about that.
All right, Bills Titans tonight.
You keep doing
Bills.
Josh Allen, King Henry.
Tough game on the road, but the Bills be sick. Y'all make me sick. Like I needed to be here today Today of all days, I needed to be here. What?
Hey, stop. This is not about you anymore. This is about what has gone down, what has transpired, and what I have to tell everybody, especially Cowboys Nation out there. What you saw yesterday, that was incredible. By far the best game of the year. And so much to break down.
It's bad enough I thought I had to do first with Michael Irvin. But evidently Don King has shown up.
I told you, Jerry, we were going to take this over. I told you we were going to take this over.
Let's go.
It is here now.
What a game. What a game.
Play fake. Boot to the right. Looking down the field. Lamb. 10-5. Victory. Cowboys win.
The emotions high right now, if you can't tell.
These are games you can really build off of.
The ghosts are exorcised.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. It is a Monday. So you know what that means. The Hall of Famer, the playmaker, my guy, Michael Irvin. Top of the morning to you, sir. I see you with your Cowboys. We all have on our Cowboys blue.
Yes.
Actually, today, in unison, you look handsome in blue as well. Good morning, Stephen A. Smith.
Morning, Molly. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Our last day in LA. We got Michael here. We're gonna have a lot. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
He knew this was going to be something. You look so good over there, my brother. You really do, man.
Listen, you've been in worse outfit. That does look good.
The tie clip's fly.
I'm really still trying to get you to just get a haircut. Don King is retired, man. You don't need
Why are you hating on that natural beauty right there?
I'm just saying, trim it up.
Boy, that's a
scissor it something.
Boy, that's a fitting play right there, calling me Don King, because Don King represented champions. I'm just saying every word you drop, I'm going to use. I'm just letting you know. Okay. Go ahead, Molly.
All right.
Boost this thing. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
We begin with America's team. Dak Prescott connects with CeeDee Lamb for a TD pass in overtime as the wideout waves goodbye to Pats quarterback Jalen Mills, and the Cowboys pick up their 5th straight win, Michael. Dallas getting their first win in Foxborough since the 90s. In 0-2, 35-29, Dak Prescott did injure his calf on that game-winning play. He will get an MRI on his calf today. Here's Dak saying all the right things.
Talk about the emotions of that play. You hit the game winner, you celebrate, and then you got a pain in your leg.
Yeah, I was just like, no way. Life keeps throwing punches, and I'm gonna keep throwing them back. Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of this game. It's a physical game we play. As I said, I'll be fine. I've got a lot of confidence in myself, the medical team, and as I said, I mean, I feel good. Obviously, this is precaution, but yeah, I mean, just more so thinking about the touchdown. It doesn't hurt as bad, obviously, when you score and you win the game.
That line right there, you know what, Michael, he even inspires me, how he keeps punching back. I'm kind of jealous he's not my quarterback, in all honesty. Playmaker, but you have a message for Dallas fans, I hear?
Yeah, yes, sir. And did you not see this and how this runs so well together? I mean, you mentioned Don King. His first statement is about life punches, and he's punching back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Life punched all of us.
Absolutely.
Just recently here in this pandemic. Right? And I want everybody out there, Cowboys Nation, I want you to know. Go get your Super Bowl tickets.
Oh, God.
Go get your Super Bowl tickets. Get them early. I'm trying to help you out right now because I know what it takes to win Super Bowls. I know what it takes to win championships. And I on every level, I have won championships. And there are certain things woven through those teams that I see now in the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm telling you, go get your tickets early because we will be in SoFi. I'm telling you right now, and we're about to break all of this down, buddy. Get your tickets, man. Get your tickets. It is here.
Do you want me to work
all
with
of that right
producers to reserve? We could get the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. We could get Southern Steve some cowboy hats.
Let's break this down.
Should we plan it out? I mean, book the hotels now, get it going, Stephen A.? So we'll get a big
Where
crowd.
do you see fault in this team? Do you want me to continue to tell you what it takes to build this team?
Do you want to speak before you give it to me, or no? Yes or no?
Well, go ahead. What, you got something to say? Look, I can tell you why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Well, why don't you say why first?
Okay, then let me give it to you. Let me tell you what I'm telling you.
Because I'm coming.
There are
All right.
certain things you watch as you go through a season. This is why we always say, well, you want to be playing your best at the end of a season. I sat right here on this desk and I went through these things. I said, first I want to see when a team comes together, how this team plays. That first game we saw a passing game and Dak was an incredible game. Then we saw the running game come together. I sat right here and told you about those two commingling. Now it was time for them to bring it together. The defense has been doing what it's been doing. Now I'm telling you, you go through certain types of games. You win the games that you're supposed to win. You beat the teams you're supposed to put away. They put away the Giants and the Eagles. They played the game very close in their first game against Tampa Bay. And now they are putting away teams. Putting away teams that people didn't think they would win against. And what I saw yesterday, winning that dirty game. This was the last kicker. Usually you don't graduate this. I see you around week 10 or week 11, but the Cowboys have somehow gotten it in week 6. It's that dirty game where no matter where you want to go in this game, we're willing to go and win this game. We're not going to let you take this game from us. We always talk about what skill it takes in the National Football League to win championships, but we don't focus on the will that it takes to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. And I'm telling you, you saw will yesterday commingle with the skill. And that is the final stage for most. And we usually don't get this about week 12. I know this because I have built this in many teams as we have gone through a season. And when I saw it in week 6, you had 5 or 6 lead changes, and not once did the Cowboys bog down. They stood up every time and answered the bell. And in the last minute, when we got the ball in overtime, Dak said, "This is it. This is coming after we saw the master put down the master." We saw the master put down the master last week. We saw what Bill Belichick, the master, did to Tom Brady, the master. So what does this make Dak when he puts more yards on you than you've ever had on you in your life? And here he is right now, oh my God, leading this group of dudes that you cannot stop all over that offensive football field. He has every blade of grass covered with talent, and he knows how to get them the ball. Hey, Belichick did a great job in disguising some coverages early on, but Dak figured it out and won that game. Dude, I'm telling you, y'all go get y'all Super Bowl tickets. Get them early right now. Ain't nothing to stop this train because we even got more help coming. We got people hurt that are Pro Bowlers that are coming. I'm just
Take a breath.
I
Marinate
ain't never
on
been
it.
so happy in my life. I slept like a baby. I ain't slept like that in 55 years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Stephen A., it was a
55.
commingling of will and skill. Obviously, you saw that commingling happen.
Couple of things. First order of business. Let's stop lying to the American public. You have been happier. That's when you actually did win championships. 3 last time I checked. Don't act like championship victories in Super Bowls, all right, this eclipses those. It does not. You're lying to the American public. So that's number 1, okay? I remember you being on a part of a 1-15 team. I remember Jimmy Johnson getting the job. I remember you pointing out who needed to be gotten rid of so we could ascend to astronomical heights. Jimmy Johnson listed, Jerry Jones listed. That's why they got the 3 Super Bowl championships in 4 years, okay? And that's why Jerry Jones still love you to this very, very day. I understand that you got everybody thinking this is Cowboy Central, all right? Because Jerry Jones made a visit on the show to open your debut here on First Take. I get all of that. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones probably somewhere smiling right now. My Libra buddy Jerry Jones. I get all that. I understand where you're coming from. It's nice. And by the way, let me throw out a little a faux pas there. First of all, I've never rooted against Dak Prescott. I was happy. I was very sad when he got hurt. I was very worried that he wasn't going to get his money. Dak Prescott has been sensational. Sensational. 73% of his passes, he's completed 16 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions on the season. Last night, yesterday afternoon, he threw for 445 yards. I got nothing to say about Dak Prescott. He is a leader personified. This brother knows how to galvanize people and bring things together, and he is the number 1 individual responsible for any appearances of a cultural change that has taken place with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not here to throw any shade on Dak Prescott. He's that dude. Let me get to your Cowboys overall, however.
Come on.
This notion that these brothers are going to the Super Bowl, for you to sit up there and to do that to the American public, these Cowboy fans everywhere. I love the fact that you're setting up this level of misery that's coming your way, because I got news for you. It's coming. And let me be very, very clear about this. It's not the fault of Stephen A. Or it's not the fault of those sons. It's us other Stephen A. It's going to be your fault. You're going to be directly responsible for the misery that's coming their way. I'm dead serious. Let me tell you something right now. I know listen, it's real popular. It's real popular to sit up here right now and talk about the Cowboys. Let me count the ways. You lose opening night to Tampa Bay, but they the reigning defending Super Bowl champions.
90 seconds.
Hold on. That's Tom Brady, okay. Marcus Spears, swag, FaceTime and me with 1 minute and 24 seconds left with Tom Brady only needing a field goal. That's stupidness right there. That cost the Cowboys. That's a typical Cowboy fan right there. Now let's get to the games there follow. This 5-game winning streak. The Chargers are no joke, even though they looked like one yesterday. That's what happens when you ask a West Coast team to play at 10 in the morning on a Sunday, their time. This is what happens. They looked like garbage yesterday against the Baltimore Ravens. That was an aberration. But that particular game where the Cowboys beat them 20-17, Dak Prescott didn't play well that game. He finished with a game-winning drive. They found a way to win. That's what winners do. Dak Prescott did it. I understand that. Then the next week you go against Jalen Hurts. And then the week after that you go against Daniel Jones. And then the week after that you go against, I'm trying to remember, Carolina. I'm sorry, Sam Darnold. Don't get me wrong.
I'm undefeated in that number one defense.
Yeah.
Without Christian McCaffrey. Let's remember that. But that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm trying to make to you is this. I'm bringing up the level of competition. And then yesterday, what do we see them do? We see them go against the New England team. Now, we all know that New England ain't what they used to be. We all know that the man is in Tampa. We all know they ain't been the same since. And if you're Bill Belichick, by the way, excuse me, could you change something up? You rushing 3, you rushing 4, you giving Dak Prescott time to step back, call his honey, sit up there and say, you know what, I'm throwing a party tonight, y'all. What y'all want to do? Where we going to hang out? What's on the menu before he throws a damn pass? You doing all of that. And the great Bill Belichick makes no adjustment throughout the game. He rushes 3, he rushes 4, he drops back 8 or 7 in the coverage all game long, doesn't blitz the dude at all. You got to pressure a quarterback. If Tom Brady and others have shown you, whether it's Tom Brady, it's Drew Brees, it's Aaron Rodgers, anybody, if you pressure the quarterback, okay, it breaks pipes. It's going to compromise them. He didn't do that all day long. And don't get me started with Mike McCarthy's yet again clock management issue. They came wearing this working on it. My foot. The bottom line is this. All I'm trying to say to you is this. Then we gonna give up. You got the safety that forgets to help Trayvon Diggs over the top, and you give up the touchdown to Bourne after the ball. After the ball went through the receiver's hands. Trayvon Diggs, my defensive player of the year. Credit to him. And by the way, that brother can fly. That brother can fly.
Another interception, 7 on the season.
Former wide receiver. As far as I'm concerned, Trayvon Diggs is the defensive player of the year. It's the defensive player of the year. All I'm saying to you is this. I brought up an abundance of questions, not to mention the level of competition. So you can sit up there and lie to these people and tell them the Cowboys get your tickets now for so far all you want to. I hope they do it where they can't get no refunds so they can blame you for the money they got. No.
That is low.
There won't be no money lost.
Even for you. For you, that's low.
I'm going to give you the floor. Hold on.
No refund?
Hold on. Listen, if you so confident, don't get no refundable ticket. Go ahead and buy your ticket, Cowboys fans. Don't get a refundable ticket. Don't get a refundable ticket, all right? Because you're going to lose your money, and that'll be even more reason for me to laugh. They're going to lose their money. You wait.
Let me tell you something.
You wait. Keep talking.
There are things that you have to measure when you're looking at this train on this track that you see the Dallas Cowboys on right now. Don't just see what you see on the football field. That's one thing. But also hear what they're saying in the pressers. Dak,
my Lord.
in Dak's presser where he talked about being in that situation, because it's not that I handled it. It's what did you see as I handled it? See, how did you see me handling those situations, those tough situations you're going to see again in the playoffs? Yeah. You're going to see them again. And the Cowboys handled them well. Not once did I see any pressure.
No. We have to move on.
You can only play who they have on the roster.
Philly, Carolina, the New York Giants, And yesterday,
Michael, we have to move on. My only concern is the coach.
That?
My only concern is the coach. We will get into that later, though.
And mine too. But he won the game, so we can't get down and kill every decision he made when it turned out he won the game.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on here. How about the Ravens' outstanding play, living up to Baltimore's mantra: pound the rock, play tough D. The secondary really blowing out the LA Chargers 34-6. Let's flash back to Michael on the Chargers.
Man, Justin Herbert and them Chargers, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
To see what they look like right now, Stephen A. It's scary. The Chargers right now with that defense. You know what they got on the front end on the defensive both. You know what they get their back end on James. Mm-hmm. They right now, I say top of team in the AFC right now.
Michael, you look so happy with the Ferris wheel behind you, Santa Monica Pier. So Baltimore is currently in the driver's seat in the AFC at 5-1, followed by the Bills, and then those Chargers. Michael, are the Ravens now the best team in the AFC, sir?
And as I tell you, I'm watching the Cowboys. I watch every team with that same eye to see what this team has as they try to move forward. And the Chargers were showing me great steps. Stephen A., I hear you saying right now that, oh, yeah, you know, that's what happens when a West Coast team goes east and they have to play 10 o'clock on their clock. But that's what I'm testing them for. That's what I'm testing them for. I don't want to see and I don't want to hear those excuses when you're talking about a championship. Everything has to be about the championship, and you got to mitigate all of that and show up and play. I don't mind you losing a game, but when you get manhandled in a game, I gotta dink you for that. I gotta take something off, and they got manhandled. I understand you couldn't stop the run, but you cannot let somebody stop your primary way of eating. And they shut down Justin Herbert, and they shut down Mike Williams. And I said, oh, my God, where is that same deep heart? On the other side, I saw it in the Ravens. I saw it in the Ravens. I saw it in that defense. I saw when they put Humphries on Williams and we're shutting this down. That's it for this. I saw the fight in the Ravens when they lined up and said, you can't run the ball. Austin Eckler, you're only getting 7 yards today. That's it. And then I saw it in Lamar Jackson, who we've all said he can't come back. Get overhead, he won't be able to come back. He showed us that last week. And this week, he just went to another level. I see another level in their passing game now that says, yes, you're ready now to maybe take a step and go deeper in the playoffs. Not just get to the playoffs, but can do something when you get in the playoffs as long as you're able to make those plays that you've seen Lamar Jackson make now the last couple of weeks from the pocket. And with that special ability he has, there's nobody else like him in the National Football League.
I appreciate the explanation, Michael Irvin. I truly, truly do. But the impetus for the discussion was how wrong you are. So let's keep that narrative live. Well, the fact of the matter is you're wrong. You're not batting 1,000. You're not batting anywhere near 1,000. And the fact is that since you're wrong about that, and I already said that you're wrong about the Cowboys, we're going to continue that narrative because we're going to monitor how wrong you are, how often you're wrong, okay? So we're going to do that, okay? Now let's get to let's get to this.
I didn't call for the sound. He requested it. I hope you know that, Michael.
Here's the deal.
I'm unbiased on the show.
I'm not going to leave you hanging because I'm not going to be hypocritical. I'm not going to be hypocritical. I was raving about the Chargers myself. Yeah. And it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to get beat down. But I'm going to throw a Mellick in there. I mean, listen, if you're sitting up there in SoFi, where you telling the Cowboy fans to make their plans to come to, right? This is Southern California. I mean, Molly, I have to tell you, I had to sit there over the weekend because I had the pleasure, my girl here, Molly, treated me to a facial, man.
A spa treatment.
For my birthday, I'm looking.
By the beach,
you see how fly I'm looking? You see how fly I'm looking there so far? That's because of Molly. Molly had me at the spa.
She was blowing. Okay, Michael, you missed out. You could have came for brunch.
And then after that, I had to sit up there and give her a hug and console her because she's got to leave Southern California.
It was a nice 18 days.
She got to leave. She's hurting. She's hurting. You know what I'm saying?
That was nice.
So what I'm saying, I bring that up, and the relevancy of all of that is that, how'd you think the Chargers felt about having to go across the country to play 10 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
their time.
an early kick.
That's an adjustment, okay?
Yeah.
It's an adjustment that they were ill-equipped to handle. They came out flat, gave up 2 early touchdowns, all right? And that's really, that's really what Duran was talking about when he said, we just came out flat, we put ourselves in a hole. But I don't need all of that to point to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, #1 in points allowed.
One quick thing, though. But you see what I'm saying? I just told you, you got to listen to what's coming out of someone's mouth. Now, how is Derwin James telling me we came out flat? This is the measuring stick for where y'all are in the Super Bowl. I don't want to hear that from Derwin James.
You don't want to hear that. But the point is, week 6 of the season, I'd rather hear it now to come playoff time. So
yes,
you are
that's true,
all right.
but I still don't wanna hear it.
All right, I understand all of that. But the point is, you still want to hear it week 6 as opposed to the postseason. If it were the Cowboys saying it, you'd say I don't want to hear it, but that's okay. It's only 6 weeks, week 6 of the season. So don't forget that now. All I'm trying to say to you is this. At the end of the day, Michael Irvin, here's what it comes down to, my brother. When we look at the Buffalo Bills, #1 in points allowed, #1 in yards allowed, #1 against the pass, #2 against the rush. Now, in the interest of not being hypocritical, I do pay attention to who they played against because we have to. Steelers, first game of the season, which they lost, and the Dolphins, Washington football team, Houston Texans, all right? And we all know Houston and Miami, they shut out, but ain't nothing to brag at home about because both teams are awful. You understand what I'm saying? Here's the bottom line. Washington football team, you got a muffler playing quarterback for you. Go out and get Cam Newton, Ron Rivera. Go out and get him. Can't do work.
He got vaccinated. He came out and said that he got vaccinated. Yes.
There we go.
And he wants to play.
Because that's what that's what it was going to take for him to be allowed to play. Just call it what it is.
Right.
And he did it.
And then Buffalo ramshack, just ran roughshod over the Kansas City Chiefs. All I'm saying to you is this. We're looking at Josh Allen. We're looking at Stephon Diggs. We're looking at the acquisition of Emmanuel Sanders, elevating their vertical game. We're looking at Devin Singletary run the football for them. I don't think he's anything that's shabby. And then you look at their defense, particularly their secondary, and they are no joke. We're going to see them tonight against Tennessee on the road. It'll be interesting to see how they perform then, and maybe we'll say something different tomorrow. But at the end of the day, right now, when you look at consistency in terms of balance, not an offense being prolific, not a defense being, just enormous and phenomenal, but it's both sides of the ball that they're getting. They're exceptionally well coached. Right. They're playing good on both sides of the ball. They got a young stud at the quarterback who can run and throw. They got receivers. Right. They got a running game.
I'll give you the last word here, Michael.
And
Buffalo.
Yes, they do. And when they go up against the Ravens, we're going to see what kind of man they have. Yeah. Because when Josh Allen was running around, ain't nobody in Kansas City, they wouldn't even blow on him. But Baltimore, they going to touch him. They're going to touch him. So that's a different defense that you'll be going up
let me ask you this question.
All right, we got to wrap this up,
since you're blessing us with the gospel of your divine knowledge. Hold on, let me ask you this. Where was that knowledge just a week ago when you were talking about the Chargers?
It might be a blip, Stephen A. You did say it was an early West Coast trip. It could be a blip for them. We got to see.
What I also said, usually these manly things, these will testing, I'm going to see this in week 10. And right now, the Chargers failed it. Up to that point, the Chargers had passed every test I'm looking for.
Remember what you said about Alabama?
They failed it.
Remember what you said about Alabama? This could be a good thing.
Exactly. All I'm saying is,
moral victory. You love moral victory.
I have to see another game where they can step in and say, no way.
The Arizona Cardinals making easy work of the Cleveland Browns 37-14, letting Cleveland know there are levels to this and you can't hang. Oh, and no Cliff Kingsbury, no problem. The coach sidelined with COVID. Kyler put up 4 TDs, no picks. Baker, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Here is a banged up Baker Mayfield.
First off, how are you feeling with your arm's in a sling? How bad is it?
Feels like
Worse than the first time?
probably. I get MRIs and stuff tomorrow, so we'll be able to find out more.
Do you have a sense if you'll be able to keep playing through this, Baker?
I do.
Okay, obviously, Baker frustrated there. Odell, also a hot topic last week. Still no TDs this season and a 4th down drop late. Chemistry struggles continue. Our quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, joining the show now. Good morning to you, Dan.
Good morning. What's going on? Good to see you guys.
See you, buddy.
Before we jump into this, Stephen A., I know you want to mention something.
I just want, before we move on to football, because it's a football Monday, I wanted to take a moment. I was going to do it at the top of the show,
Sure.
but I got interrupted by this Cowboy lover. But I wanted to give major props to the Chicago Sky and the wonderful, great Candace Parker for the WNBA championship. I watched that game last night. It was sensational. Quigley, she was balling, but Candace Parker closed the deal as well. Congratulations to them. And I wanted to give props to my man, primetime Deion Sanders.
Oh, yes.
He implored the folks to show up to Jackson State against Alabama State for their homecoming. 53,500 plus showed up. Prime time. We're getting folks out there to show up, making a difference at an HBCU. I want to make sure I pointed that out.
For sure.
That's
and
all I want to say.
Candace Parker, her 14th season.
That's
Talk
right.
about longevity. She's something
Unbelievable.
special. Great on TV as well.
Yes, she is.
Okay, Dan. Let's get back to the quarterback, though. I know I mentioned Odell quickly. You've been very high on Baker. Do you still believe in him?
Oh, absolutely. I still believe in Baker Mayfield. I think everything that I say, Molly, has got to be kind of viewed or heard through the context of the shoulder injury. That's not an excuse. That's a reality. There is a reason why he's not playing up to his kind of potential and or level that we saw last year and certainly on the back half of his rookie season. And I think that's part of this conversation. That being said, you know, the things that I was disappointed with yesterday, the 2 early turnovers, understanding that you're playing at home against a team that doesn't have their coach, doesn't have a play caller, there's no Chandler Jones. Don't turn the football over. You know, don't run around and create that fumble, and you can't miss on that big in route that ends up being an interception. I still believe in Baker Mayfield because I have said this since the time Baker Mayfield came into the NFL. He's got the one physical trait that I think is the biggest deal when it comes to quarterback play. Physically, his ball placement is spectacular. And it's not there, or it hasn't been this year, since this shoulder injury. And I'm not making kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card for him. He has to play better, and I expect him to play better. But I was disappointed with yesterday's performance. But it's not, are you capable of, for me in Baker Mayfield. I don't have the question of can he. I've seen it from him for extended periods of time in the NFL. This year, it has not shown up consistently. And since that shoulder is part of this, it makes me go, well, how much is that impacting his play? But I still believe in him 100%.
You know, here's the thing about it. It's like, first of all, listen, at heart, I'm a reporter and a pundit. I'm obviously not a guy that played the game of football the way you two did. And so, and I defer to y'all knowledge a lot of times. But then I'm also reminded that I am a reporter and I got 2 eyes and I can see. And Dan Orlovsky, what I pay attention to is the level of competition that you're going up against. So many times, so often when we look at Baker Mayfield and I'll make a statement like, I don't believe he can carry this team to the Super Bowl. It's not to say that I don't think Baker Mayfield can play. That he's some scrub that doesn't deserve to be a starting quarterback in the National Football League or anything like that. I'm saying nothing of the kind. What this man did in his collegiate career, before he ultimately came to the NFL, I got a lot of respect for Baker Mayfield. And that shoulder injury, for him to stay in that game and to come back out and play, coming into the game with an injury and then aggravating it even more because you could see the way he twisted his arm when he went down and what have you. For him to stay in that game showed a tremendous level of guts. Nothing but props and respect he deserves. But when we think about Baker Mayfield, am I a believer? No. But it's not because he's a scrub. It's not because he can't play. It's because Lamar Jackson's in the division. In the conference. Josh Allen is in the conference. Patrick Mahomes is in the conference. Justin Herbert is in the conference. Hell, Joe Burrow. Cleveland's 4-2. Cincinnati's 4-2. He's in the division, not just the conference. There's level of talent that you have to go against. And when I look at my quarterback, think about what we just finished saying when we were talking about Dak Prescott. We're talking about a guy that finds a way to get it done with his legs, with his arm, in the clutch, etc. What the things that he's done, no matter what you throw at him, somehow against San Diego in a nail biter, he finds a way. He gives the GOAT, Tom Brady, a run for his money. He shellacks, whether it's the Sam Darnolds or the Daniel Jones of the world or people like that. He shellacks them, or Jalen Hurts. He goes up against Mac Jones or Bill Belichick, rather. Bill Belichick didn't make any adjustments, where he was rushing 3 or rushing 4. But somehow, some way, Dak Prescott still had Bill Belichick saying, yo, this brother's no joke. We don't talk about Baker Mayfield like that. We know he can play. We know he's not a scrub.
Right.
But when you look at, even though Nick Chubb wasn't there yesterday, when you look at a Nick Chubb, a Kareem Hunt, an Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry returning, Njoku at the tight end spot, your defense, you look at them, you're saying, this is the guy you question, not those other guys. And that is what the issue is. And by the way, it was 37-7. Y'all can go ahead and count the Hail Mary at the end of the half all you want to. Right. It was really 37-7. They got beat down.
And if, when I interject here, I will use these terms because Stephen A., you used the word. You said, I don't believe he can carry. And Dan said, I do believe in him. I believe that he can also guide. I don't believe he can carry. Dak Prescott carries a football team. But Baker Mayfield can guide this football team. He almost did it last year. They were right there. They were Rashad Higgins' little pass or play away from at least getting ready to take Kansas City in overtime and possibly win that game. So they were right there. But when we look at Baker, since he was a #1 pick in the NFL draft, and we see guys like Dak, who was a 4th-round pick, carrying, we say, well, he should carry. And I didn't use the word manage because I don't want Baker or anybody else to think I'm slacking them or slacking their ability to guide a football team. The way this team is constructed, Baker Mayfield can absolutely guide this team through a playoffs. You give him back Jarvis Landry, which is his short passing game. That's his comfort. You get him back. Yesterday, Odell Beckham had his best game, and he still dropped some balls. So to say we can't work Odell in, we can work Odell in. And I'm going to tell you something, Dan, and we talked about this. Let me tell you something. When I too, Dan, and I heard you this morning when you said when you saw him go down, you're like, he's done. I said the same thing. I said, he's done. That's it. You fall on that shoulder like that. I had that happen to me, man. Hey, this boy came back in that game.
In the same game.
Yeah. It takes that kind of fight to pull a place like Cleveland up. It takes that kind of heart. It takes something like that. And Baker has it. And Baker will make that throw. Now, sometimes you say, don't do that. But he will take that chance and make that throw. And that takes what Dan calls some onions to do it. And he will do it.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, playmaker. That's why I believe in him still. You know, I think he's cut from the right stuff. I think he's plenty talented. Now, and the context in which we view Baker Mayfield is a big part of this conversation. Because, and I would push back in regards to, in comparison to like a Dak Prescott. I don't think 2-3 years ago Dak Prescott was a guy that was carrying a football team. Right. He unquestionably is ascended into that conversation. Dak Prescott has become a guy that the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl because of. Right now, Baker Mayfield has not proven that. He is a quarterback that the Browns can win games with. The downside with the timing of everything with Baker Mayfield is this. Lamar Jackson in his division and in that same draft class, Lamar Jackson is doing things that you should not do in the NFL team-wise. You should not be 5-1 with their decimation of injury. Now, Lamar Jackson's price right now is doing this. I want everyone to, it is going skyrocketing, and Baker Mayfield's price is falling. And that's the difference between those two guys.
Hold on.
Correct. Josh has already been paid. But that's because those guys, and Lamar, I think the most, is carrying a team, is putting him on his back, and Baker had the opportunity to do that yesterday with all the injuries, and he didn't.
Well, see, I don't want y'all stealing my glory. Because here's the deal. I was going there. See, you bring up the fact that Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. Baker Mayfield was a 1st-rounder. No. Baker Mayfield was #1 overall.
Right.
Josh Allen was 7th. Lamar Jackson was number 32.
Yeah.
You're #1. So let's not act like the expectations are not fair. They are fair, especially in a league with a hard salary cap where you being slotted and picked where you were slotted and picked. You take up a chunk of money that somebody drafted lower than you doesn't get to take up. You compromise the ability to get others the way somebody taken lower doesn't compromise. And the expectation that you have with being the number 1 overall pick is more than fair. And all I'm saying is the brother can play.
Yeah.
He's not a scrub. I don't think they should be ashamed for having him or anything like that. I'm just saying there's dudes that were taken in his class that are better. And they both happen to be in the same conference who will be, in all likelihood, who will be roadblocks for years to come to the level of success he's hoping to acquire.
And they didn't have to reach all the way down deep to pull their team up out of the slug which has been in for a million
Michael,
years, as Baker had to do.
Michael, we'll see what he does on Thursday because he's got a quick turnaround. He plays on Thursday Night Football against the Broncos. Arizona, the last unbeaten team. Dan, always a pleasure, sir. We'll see you in New York.
You see Dan with the glasses. Dan with the glasses that's matching the tie. You see the glasses matching the tie.
Yeah,
Dan trying to do that. Clearly the wife put that together. Clearly the wife put that together.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
of course.
His wife's something special.
Right.
Ahead on First Take, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Sometimes you black out on the field in a good way. I definitely blacked out from a concussion, which isn't a good way. But I looked up in the stands, and in the front row, all I saw was a woman giving me the double bird. So I'm not sure exactly what came out of my mouth next.
To use your line, he does not give a damn. And I love it. And he's having fun, and he's entertaining, and he's balling. Hi, Ryan.
How you doing, Molly? This is what I wonder. When you guys show up every Monday, and Monday's been a great show, adding the playmaker was really smart. And Stephen A continues to be the 3rd best dressed person on the show. And if I'm counting right, it's only 1, 2, 3 people every week.
Right.
I mean, he sent the text about Dan and I both wearing Navy today.
That's
so I said, you know why he's talking about us, Dan? Because he know he can't compete with the playmaker on Monday. And once again, the playmaker comes through his LA style.
I mean, for playmaker with his suits on, you got to be kidding me. You got to be you looking like a pastor. Pastor Clark. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky showed up on Get Up this morning looking like Ebony and Ivory. You know what I'm saying? Had on the same suit, same color. Hey, look at that. Look at that. That's how they look. I mean, you got to be kidding me. That thing ain't my fault. Ain't my fault. What happened? What happened? It was me.
How are you going to compliment Dan and then hate on Ryan?
No. I was just talking about how
because it's in his heart.
Was bad.
It's in his heart.
You complimented Dan last block, and now you're hating on Ryan.
I'm not saying the outfit is bad. I'm saying they had on the same thing.
I hear you.
That's what I was saying. Ebony and Ivory living in perfect harmony. Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney for crying out. I didn't know they were going to get up, but they showed up this morning.
Hey, we showed up. Playmaker, keep killing him. Keep killing the playmaker.
You must be great. And by the way, since NBA Countdown's about to start, I was at the wardrobe spot yesterday. It's coming. You keep talking about things. You keep coming. The ward, all right. Okay.
Molly, he finna go buy them same 3 suits he wear all the time.
No. You got me confused. So other people on ESPN. I don't have no 3 outfits. All right. Let's roll.
All right. Are we done? Are we done complimenting ourselves, all of us?
That's all right.
RC, I'll start with you. Are the Packers a legit threat to win the NFC?
I believe they are. And listen, this isn't the best Packer team we've seen over the last 3 years. You have injuries on defense. They're not necessarily functioning outside of Devontae Adams in the pass game. But Aaron Rodgers is starting to play at that level again where he's making sure whatever moment of the game it is, he's making the big play for the Green Bay Packers. If you go back to yesterday, it's 17-14. The Bears are playing extremely good on defense. He gets the big play down the field to Devontae Adams. The next play, he runs it in, or a couple of plays later, he runs it in with the pump fake, gets right inside the pylon, and then we know what happened next. It was the double bird, and it was the discount double check. Aaron Rodgers is again showing us that he's a top 3 quarterback in this league. He's also showing us that he doesn't need as many weapons as the other teams. Now, this defense has to get better, right? We need to see some more timely running from Aaron Jones to where it's more consistent and it's not just the big play or the big bang or dominating a team that's lesser against the run. And you get those things and they're right back in the NFC playoffs. And here's the truth. If you get Aaron Rodgers into the NFC playoffs, are there going to be many games where you pick the other quarterback? Last year, obviously, it was Tom Brady. This year, Dak ascending. But when you look at the NFC, Aaron Rodgers is still the most talented quarterback in it. And I believe in the Green Bay Packers because of him, not necessarily because I think this team is the best we've seen in the last 3 years with some of the injuries they have defensively.
And when we've talked for years here, and certainly that's what Aaron Rodgers has used this last offseason about the lack of talent that's around him right now in order for him to do some of the things that he wants to do, right? Okay, so Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. And when you put Aaron Rodgers on a football field, yeah, you may have an opportunity. But when I see this Green Bay Packers team as is, let me tell you my issues with it. Too much. And boy, trust me, I love number one receivers. I'm a pure number one receiver.
Adams, yeah.
And I love Devontae Adams. He's the best receiver right now in the National Football League. No doubt about that. But you put everything on Devontae Adams. And then who is that other person, that other guy that I'm going to need you to make plays with when the tough times come, when you get to those better teams, when you get to teams like a Rams, who has a Ramsey that says, okay, go get Devontae Adams. Who else can step up and win? So when I see the running backs, and they ran the ball well yesterday, both of those guys ran the ball well to support him and Dillon, so to support Aaron Rodgers yesterday. But Aaron Jones was the second leading receiver in that game again. You know, and that's going to be an issue down the road. Where is that other guy that I consistently say, okay, when you take this away, we have this to go to? Can they consistently beat you with the run game if you take Devontae Adams out? And this is the issue I have with the Green Bay Packers. They brought back Randall Cobb, and I thought he would be that guy. And I said, because you got somebody. He doesn't have to be the fastest, biggest, strongest. He has it upstairs. He knows how to find those areas to make those plays. But he made no plays yesterday. Not one reception.
Stop trying to employ the strategy where you get to do all the talking and we ain't got no time to come back.
I'm
that doesn't work with me. That doesn't work with me. I'm just letting you know. Okay? It's ball control. Let me make this real. Let me make this real quick for you. Okay? You're both right. Because Aaron Rodgers is that ultimate equalizer, if not the ultimate difference maker. And we all know that, particularly come playoff time. All right? But you're right about the fact that you can't rely solely on Devontae Adams. They're not, because they're relying on their running game too, but it would be nice to see Lazard and others get a bit more actively involved. This is why I came on the air last week, and I pushed for the Cleveland Browns to trade Odell Beckham Jr. to the Green Bay Packers.
Boy.
I promise y'all, if Odell Beckham Jr. ends up with the Green Bay Packers going to the Super Bowl. Not Dallas. Green Bay Packers going to the Super Bowl. Let Aaron Rodgers get his hands on Odell Beckham Jr. and let Odell Beckham Jr. be in Green Bay with Devontae Adams. Watch. They won't even. You and I both know, RC, they probably wouldn't let it happen because they know it wouldn't be fair to the rest of the NFL. With Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, having those two targets, because Odell Beckham Jr. is far from done. There's just levels between Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers, okay? They need Odell Beckham Jr. That's what that is.
Stephen A., they would veto that trade like the CP3 trade to the Lakers. They ain't letting that happen.
They ain't letting that happen.
They ain't going to let that happen. I think, though, too, when you look at Aaron Rodgers and what he's meant to this team, the playmaker is right. It's so much put on the shoulder of Aaron Rodgers or the arm of Aaron Rodgers and what Devontae Adams could do. But he mentioned the Los Angeles Rams and Jalen Ramsey. They tried that last year when the Los Angeles Rams were playing great defensively and Green Bay found a way. Are they going to make that play in the NFC Championship game, though? Think about this, guys. San Francisco 2 years ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year, the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, to a certain extent, haven't shown up in that moment. And so we're not worried about being 5-1 right now. How does this team progress down the stretch, and where and how are they playing once the playoffs start?
If somebody step up and say, I am he. I am that other guy that will make plays when Devontae Adams starts getting slowed down. I am he. If
you got to double it.
I am he. They won't.
We got to roll. RC, we'll see you on television later, and RC debating Stephen A. on Friday. He's with us every Friday as well. I don't know what the bow's for, but I'm gonna roll. That's
because he knows right now he's the fourth best dressed, Molly. Fourth best.
It's a blowout in the Meadowlands.
It's going to look bad, probably being like, come on, man.
I think he was telling me he was like a software engineer a month and a half ago.
I'm changing. Raiders made it. The Jaguars have won it.
I came back today like Jordan when he came back winning the 4-5. It ain't to play games with you.
You drop the Twinkie into the toaster.
Wait for you, take what I want now. The Minnesota Vikings have walked up. Jones fires it over the middle, and there's Diggs. Of course it's Diggs. Moore makes the catch. Goodbye. Touchdown. Looking down the field, Lamb. 10-5. Victory.
Life keeps throwing punches, and I'm going to keep throwing them back.
Hello.
A fresh shower of First Take coming at you right now. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens putting the AFC on notice. Are they Stephen A's AFC favorites? Plus, did Patrick Mahomes save the Chiefs' season and undefeated Kyler's utter dominance? We get into all of it right now. Dak Prescott didn't just lead the Cowboys to a come-from-behind win overtime in Foxborough on Sunday. He topped this list of most passing yards in a win over a Bill Belichick coach team. Wow. Belichick has been an NFL head coach for 27 seasons, 22 of which have been at the helm for the Patriots, and we know he's the best to ever do it. So, Michael, I'll ask you this. Is Dak the scariest quarterback to face in the NFL right now?
We see quarterbacks, we see certain, and we say, what? I talked about this on those pregame shows that I do yesterday. I said, when you're going up against a Bill Belichick team, you have to hit a level of mastery.
Yeah.
A mastery. You got to know every possibility because it's about to unveil. And that's exactly what Belichick did, but Dak is at that level of mastery. We've watched for years, and we watched the great battles between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Neither one of them can run faster than a snail. But we watch from them a level of mastery on the game, on the football field, and control teams. Dak has that, and he has the ability to run. No. He's not a running quarterback. He has the ability to run. Now, we have turned runners into quarterbacks. But when you get a rare gift of a true quarterback that can run like that can, and now he's not Lamar, not Kyler Murray, but he can get you what he needs to get you. Absolutely. With that team he has, and him seeing every blade of grass and have the talent to hit every blade of grass, Dak is the scariest quarterback right now in the National Football League, man. So if you just did this to the master, you know what all the other defensive coordinators, because when we say scary, we talking about what defensive coordinators ain't getting no sleep.
Yep.
Everyone that sees Dak Prescott on the schedule just said, we got to get us some note on it. We are not going to get any sleep when we get ready to play him. He's the scariest quarterback with the talent he has around him in the National Football League right now. Yeah, I know you can't fight that.
I'm just going to try to keep my cool.
You can't fight that, buddy.
That drivel that you just threw out there. Let me ask you this question. So Dak Prescott is scarier than Tom Brady? Dak Prescott is scarier than Aaron Rodgers? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I am absolutely telling you that.
Okay, fine.
I'm absolutely telling you that. You want me to tell you why they are?
No. You already told me why. We heard enough from you. We've heard enough from you. He's scarier than Kyler Murray, huh? Kyler Murray, last time I checked, has completed 73% of his passes just like Dak Prescott.
Just like that.
He's got 14 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Dak got 16 and 4. Dak is thrown for 1,800 plus yards. Kyler's thrown for 1,700 plus yards. Dak's got an L. Kyler doesn't.
Right.
And then I think about this. This dude, we all know what a stud DeAndre Hopkins is. He ain't even get started yet. If you really think about what he's capable of, he ain't even get started yet. They got this cat Chase Edmonds coming out of the backfield. He's capable of running the football. They Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard, no, but him with James Conner have proven to be more than serviceable. They've got a top-notch running attack, one of the top running attacks in the National Football League. The resurgence, the resurrection of A.J. Green. Remember that dude?
Yeah.
Years ago when he was in Cincinnati and widely considered a top 5 receiver. Right. But he was in football purgatory, which is no more because Cincinnati is on the come up and they deserve a lot of credit. But A.J. Green was there when they were purgatory. And guess what? They're not anymore, but neither is he. This brother is in Arizona doing his thing. And when I consider what the Arizona Cardinals look like, and I consider the weapons that Kyler Murray has available to him. I mean, I paid attention to Dak Prescott. If you didn't have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup's in the mix again. I mean, if you think about guys like that, along with Schultz, along with Wilson, a multitude of weapons, there's nothing to sneeze at, no doubt about it. Last time I checked, Arizona isn't either. And when I think about Dak, like you said, Dak is not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run. Well, we don't know what to classify Kyler Murray is because this miniature dude that Keyshawn Johnson once sat on our set in New York and said, well, I prefer to see quarterbacks where I can see the ball coming out of their hand.
What did he
because
say?
they're not, he said, because they're not short and I'm not looking for where they're throwing the football from because I could see the ball coming out of their hands when I'm running
second
around.
that emotion, Keyshawn.
Let me finish. You're a Super Bowl champion and a Hall of Famer. He's a Super Bowl champion. Y'all played, I did it. I understand my place. But I got two eyes. And what I'm saying to you is this. I'm watching. A matter of fact, I took the liberty, Mollywood, because I wanted to see what drivel would come out of this man's mouth. So I did what I usually do every Sunday morning. I made sure I clicked that channel over to the NFL Network. I wanted to see because we know Rich Eisen is my man, former ESPN dude. Love him dearly. Can't wait to bring him on the show one of these Mondays as well. That's my brother right there, Rich Eisen, and his wonderful wife, Susie, who I've been friends with for decades. For decades. I've known her for decades. Hey, love you, Susie. Here's the deal. You got Rich Eisen there and my man, Kurt Warner. What was he saying? Super Bowl champion, Kurt Warner. Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. From the quarterback position, Kurt Warner. What was he saying? This guy, Kyler Murray,
Kyler's bad boy,
can throw the football.
Man.
So what I'm saying to you is this. Man. We know Dak can't run like him, but we don't know whether or not Kyler Murray can't throw like Dak because we've seen no evidence that he can't. And he's undefeated with his own slew of weapons. So when we talk about the scariest quarterback in the National Football League, how come I can't say Kyler Murray?
Well, because when we say scary, we're talking about the fear you place in the defense coordinator's heart. Now,
and Kyler Murray doesn't do that?
Yes, he does.
All right, then. You know I got you. That's why you're smiling.
Let me tell you what let me tell you what the DC goes to sleep on. The DC goes to sleep on his plan of saying, okay, like Keyshawn said, he's not the tallest guy in the world. And what I need to do is just keep him in a pocket and try to slow him down. Let me not allow him to use those dangerous.
Keep him in the pocket.
And I keep him in the pocket, get as much push, and then get my hands up because of his size.
And how is that way to help? And how has that worked out for them?
Nobody's really been able to keep him in the pocket. Not yet. But he's like you talked about the level of competition. Now, the level of competition will be coming for
3 weeks. Hold on.
Because the Cowboys got Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence that they can shoot up the field to keep you in that pocket.
Hold on. Michael Irvin just brought up competition. The last 4 weeks, the Cowboys have won against the Eagles, the Giants, the Carolina Panthers without Christian McCaffrey, and obviously yesterday against the New England Patriots. Who did Arizona go against? They blew out the Rams, okay? They beat San Francisco, and then they just blew out Cleveland. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I'm talking about matchups. And I'm talking about matchups. So since we're talking about it, and since we're talking scariest quarterback, we're talking scariest quarterback, but those quarterbacks come with the teams that they are on.
Okay.
They come with the team that they're on. So you so eloquently laid out all the players that Arizona has. You know who Dak has. We ain't even got to talk about them. Just check the top of all the stat sheets all over the NFL.
I know y'all got a cupcake schedule. I know y'all got a cupcake schedule. I know that.
At Minnesota on Sunday.
Why don't you just bake cake for them, Molly? Why don't you just bake cakes for them? Icing on the whole bit. That's what I'm saying.
You talking that we are winning.
That's what it is.
I'm saying how we are winning.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the difference that makes the Cowboys
we're all
the best
talking
team.
over each other. Let's move on.
Okay, let's stop talking over.
Whatever.
We're passionate.
Whatever.
Still to come on first day. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs showed some resolve early yesterday versus the Washington football team. Did he save Kansas City's season? Plus, Kyler Murray, as we just said in the cards. Quick takes. The Rams are no joke. Matt Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes, 2 to Cooper Kupp, and the defense put the clamps on Daniel Jones and the Giants in their 38-11 win. Stephen A., how bad are my Giants?
They're very, very bad. And I'm going to tell you this.
Don't look at me when you say
that. Listen, I'm serious. I mean, it's sad how bad they've been, how prolifically bad they've been, consistently so. Dave Gettleman needs to go. and the New York Giants and John Mara need to come to ESPN and ask for Louis Riddick to come out of the booth so he could be the new GM of the New York Giants, which is the selection they should have made when they were interviewing both him and Gettleman for the job.
Yeah, 1-5 in their last 6 home games. Terrible. Joe Burrow threw 3 touchdowns as the Bengals put the beat down on the winless Lions, 34-11 at Ford Field. Michael, is it time to take the 4-2 Cincinnati Bengals seriously?
Yes, it absolutely is time to take this team seriously. And they got a great little triplet over there going with Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And I mean, hey, listen, I went in that game, watching that game a couple weeks ago when they played the Packers, and I watched Joe and Jamar go fight for fight, almost yard for yard with Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely, you got something on it.
Derek Carr threw for 341 yards and tossed 2 touchdown passes in the Raiders' 34-24 win over the Broncos. The Raiders had 0 turnovers, 4 takeaways. Stephen A., what's your reaction to how well they played in their first game since John Gruden leaving the team?
Major props to the organization led by their new coach, who clearly has the pulse of this team. They went out there and they played hard. They played not just for themselves, but they played for him. They basically sent the message. The sentiments expressed by John Gruden are for John Gruden to deal with.
Yeah.
That's not us. That's not who we are. And they distanced themselves in every way imaginable from all of that by performing the way that they did.
And showed resilience and came together. Yes, Michael, your reaction to how they rebounded?
Hey, kudos to them, man. That's what this game is about. I always say the definition of true athletes is to meet and beat all challenges. And that was a tough challenge they had in front of them. And they came together as a team. And they made a decision to go out and play hard and win that football game. And Stephen A., you said something. They were making a statement. We already found our next head coach. You need no look no farther. They continue to play like that. That's the statement they're making, that this group that's in this locker room, we are here together.
And remember, John Harbaugh came from special teams to become a head coach.
Yeah. Right.
We saw what Joe Judge did before he landed for the New York Giants. Why can't this man be the next head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders? We really need to see what he does as the season progresses, because last year they were 6-3 before they fell apart, losing 5 games in 6 weeks. But if that doesn't happen and they end up making the playoffs, this man needs to be kept on as the next head coach, because clearly these players love him and love playing for him.
No question. Let's stay in the division, guys. Don't look now, but the Chiefs are back to 500, and Patrick Mahomes is back on track, throwing for a season-high 397 yards in Kansas City's 31-13 win over the Washington football team. After the game, Mahomes talked about the Chiefs' early season adversity. Check it out.
I understand it's just week 6, but at 2-3, did you feel like that was a really important half to put together there in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the way we did it, even though it wasn't pretty in the first half, I mean, I feel like kind of hopefully will get us rolling. I mean, we had another bad first half, and it could have spiraled right there. I mean, it could have, how this season's gone, the adversity we dealt with, it could have spiraled. But I thought the guys, it was a lot of mental toughness to go back into battle and to go out there and believe in each other.
Michael, did Patrick Mahomes save the Chiefs season?
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. And I'm talking about they needed that game. They needed that win. And even the way they got the win, they needed. Because they can say we exercised all of those demons in the first half. And they saw the changeover right after the halftime. And they came back out and they got back on track. Let me tell you something. We're sitting here saying, yeah, they got back to 500 because they have those 3 losses on their record. Those losses, Baltimore, the Chargers, and Buffalo. Those teams went into yesterday's games at 12-3. All of those teams, you'll see in the playoffs. So you can lose to those teams because you're going to see them in the playoffs. You can't lose to Washington. You can't lose to these teams because now all of the fear of that dynamic, scary offense that you've been scaring the league with, all that fear is gone. All that fear is gone. If Lamar Jackson comes up there and get you, we say, oh, well, Lamar Jackson makes some great plays. Josh Allen played the way he played, they win. You say, oh, yeah, Justin Herbert, the way he was throwing the ball, that's something else. Heineke, he gets you. Oh, buddy, it's over. And I didn't know when a dynasty was over. That's what they would have started saying in that locker room. And when that virus get in your computer, it's over. Your confidence is gone. He came out that second half and said, we're stopping it right here and saved the season. And Mama Mahomes, I'm with you. That ball that went through Tyreek Hill's hand, that shouldn't be called an interception. Since I ain't never dropped any balls, you should call it a fumble on the man. I don't care who, but Mama was right. He played well. Tyreek and Patrick Mahomes saved that season in that whole thing that circulates around that scary offense yesterday.
You know what's so funny? It's like you sit up here and you talk about it. They had to have this game, and well, who the hell doubted that they were going to get this game? I mean, they're playing against Mr. Muffler himself, Taylor Heineke, okay? I mean, Washington, they got McLaurin, but the bottom line is they don't have much. They're not a good team. We're sitting there telling Ron Rivera, you better go and call Cam Newton. I mean, when nobody expected anything from Washington's football team, you don't even have a name. You don't even have a name. Right. Maybe we'll get more respect for you when you get a name, okay?
What is that about? Are they going to ever get a name, or they just like being the Washington
Listen, first of all, understand that Washington is actually a state, okay? So you ain't even calling them D.C. I mean, in the nation's capital. We don't know whether you talk about, somebody that ain't paying attention might think you talk about the Pacific Northwest. I mean, that's how pathetic this is. Get a name. Having said all of that, here's the deal.
They were supposed to have a defense now.
Everybody, yes, I know that. Everybody's supposed to get a bye week. How the hell are you going to get a bye month? Because that's what the hell the Kansas City Chiefs get, because they get to go against the NFC East. Okay, now with the exception of the Dallas Cowboys, Washington, the Giants, and the Eagles really against the two-time reigning AFC champions, let's stop the nonsense.
Yeah, but have you looked at November? They got the Packers, the Raiders, and the Cowboys.
No, I was talking about the NFC East. I was just talking about the NFC East.
Kansas City some time to get their team together.
Here's what I would say about Kansas City. Here's what I would say about Kansas City. This is why this season isn't saved. We know what Patrick Mahomes brings to the table. The question is their defense. 28th in points allowed, 28th in yards allowed, 25th against the pass, 27th against the rush. The defense is not impressive. Yesterday was an upgrade, and it was against a non-offensive team, a team that lacks so much in offense they're considered offensive. I mean, this is who they are, the Washington football team. Now, when we look at Patrick Mahomes, here's what he can't say. The guy that's got 8 interceptions after throwing 6 all year last season, that same guy. Here's what Patrick Mahomes would never say, because none of us would ever say it. Look, man, my defense stinks. And because of that, that's why I try to play hero ball, because I can't trust them. He's not going to tell us that, but that's the situation. And so because he's not going to tell us that, because that's not the situation, okay, because that's the situation, and he can't say it, all right, he can't say, look, I'm worried about Buffalo. I'm worried about the Raiders. I'm worried about Baltimore. I'm worried about Tennessee. I'm worried about all of these teams. He can't go out and say, it's because my defense stinks, and as a result, I'm trying to help out as best I possibly can. That's what's going on. That's what's going on here.
Right. But
so he save anything.
But what he did say is, okay, we lost to some top teams, but these other teams that can't score on my defense, they ain't got no shot. So let's close that down while we're working on getting it together. While we're working on, and we need time. You say, this is a team, they were together last year. They didn't need the time like Tampa needed last year. But they had a brand new offensive line this year. Still working on getting that offensive line together. And I'm going to tell you something. You said, who expected Kansas City to lose that game yesterday? We all knew. Kansas City doubted. That's why that was so big of a game for them. Kansas City, I guarantee you.
Kansas City
came out. Did you not see Patrick Mahomes talking about, I have to reevaluate the way I'm playing? The greatest thing.
Stop your lying.
The greatest quarterback, and the greatest thing we've had at quarterback since I don't know when, started saying, I have to reevaluate the way I'm playing. That is doubt seeping in. That is not supreme confidence. That is not the Patrick Mahomes that we haven't seen.
They are the bottom of their division. Come on. They're a little concerned. He tried to downplay all the picks, too. We didn't hear that sound, but I heard that as well post-game.
That was a season.
Stephen A., who are you impressed with? I'm waiting to hear the one team you are impressed with.
I'm impressed with several teams. Okay.
Who? Give me one.
I'm impressed with the Ravens. I'm impressed with the Buffalo Bills.
The Ravens.
I'm impressed with the Buffalo Bills. Okay. I'm impressed with the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, we're just going to drop the mic on that.
Why you had to say that for last, though? Why you start with the Dallas Cowboys? You just couldn't start with the Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys.
His mouth was fixed to do that.
Why you
When we come back on First Take,
preparing for the game.
quarterback, wide receiver. That's going to be a lot of fun.
We here. New York Knicks, we here. New York, stand up. New York, stand up. We here.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, settle down. Can I get back to football now? Cleveland was rocked yesterday by the Cardinals. Kyler Murray threw 4 touchdown passes, and Arizona's defense stifled Baker and the Browns on their way to a 37-14 victory. Baker's got a short week. He plays again Thursday. Stephen A., was this blowout more about the Cardinals or the Browns? And obviously Baker got a little banged up on that shoulder as well.
I think it was more about the Browns. I think it was about the Browns from the standpoint that there was no Nick Chubb. I think it was about the Browns and from the standpoint that the chemistry between Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield isn't there. I think that comes into consideration. Let's remember the fact that Kareem Hunt got hurt in this game got hurt in this game as well. We got to pay attention to that. He could be out for a while. We don't know the status. We're waiting to hear about that as well. And it's about them going up against a formidable team and getting shellacked. And we also have to remember the last 2 weeks, they lost the previous, they're on a 2-game losing streak. The previous week, the Browns, when everybody was making noise about them, the Browns gave up 47. Yesterday, they gave up 37.
No.
Okay, so let me tell you something. Offenses are looking at their defense, and they're saying, who the hell y'all think y'all are? You understand? We know what Myles Garrett can do. We know what a stud is, but he can't do it by himself. Their defense isn't what we expected them to be. They are getting picked apart, and as a result, that's putting more pressure on Baker Mayfield to do things that he may be ill-equipped to do. And that's why this stands out to me as more about Cleveland than Arizona, even though I think Arizona is big time.
Yeah, Cleveland's missing so many players, man. So banged up in so many ways. Remind me a lot of what Dallas went through last season, really. You know what I mean? But watching the Cards yesterday, go into that game, and I was thinking about this, like, wow. And I say back and forth on, because really, if Chubbs was in that game, I might have picked Cleveland. I thought, I just don't know. You know what it must be to go into this game without your head coach? This dude, this is the dude that designed this offense without that head coach. They had to concoct some scheme on some ways they're going to try to call all the plays. For the Cardinals to go through that kind of obstacle and show up and play the way they played, spreading the ball around. Nothing spectacular out of Kyler Murray. He only threw for 229 yards, had 129 pass rating, which is his highest of the year, but he was effective and efficient. I thought that was an incredible thing. As I go through the season, I'm telling you, I'm looking for things that I can see in front of people that say, okay, that's an obstacle. And I want to see how you get over or around or through that obstacle. I always say the greater the obstacle that stands before you, you know, the greater the reward one receives when victory is achieved. Because that obstacle is what shows what depth you have of desire to get this, and to do it without their head coach. I pray you, that's such a hard thing to do without your leader. No,
and a first-time play caller
that you're used to all the time looking at, and somebody else gets in there and you win that game.
Let me say something very important, because I've said this on many occasions on this First Take, and I'm gonna say it again. I have never been one who believed that Cliff Kingsbury deserved this job.
Right.
You were at Texas Tech.
Right.
You didn't succeed. You bypassed a whole bunch of people to get this job. I don't like that. I don't like this. Nothing against him personally. If I was in this position, I got offered the job, I'd take it too.
Right.
It's not against him. I'm just talking about systemically. It left a bad taste in my mouth.
Correct.
But there is no denying this man has done a hell of a job as the head coach of this franchise. Right. And I say all of that to say, Van Joseph is your defensive coordinator. Sean Kugler is your run game coordinator. Jeff Rodgers is an assistant head coach. Jim Dry, offensive quality coach. Steve Hyden, tight ends coach. Bill Bidwell. Jordan Hogan. He's got a fellowship. You got Sean Jefferson. Guys like this. James Saxon, your running backs coach. They've got a staff that came together yesterday because Van Joseph was talking about all of these guys.
Right.
And he gave them a lot of love.
Don't forget Spencer Whipple, because he was the person that was in Kyler Murray's ear.
That's right.
Calling plays for the first time. So I want to mention him as well.
I want to take a moment to give them, because when your head coach don't show up, and all of those guys show up, you never hear, they'll never get any love normally, because we don't have to just talk about the head man. But on this day, it's worth mentioning They've got a tremendous staff. The players rallied around them. They seem to support all of these guys, and it starts with Keim and Cliff Kingsbury, because he's doing a hell of a job.
Right.
And I just wanted to say that.
And which proves my point. To why that was such a statement for Arizona. You're right. And however he may have gotten the job. Now, if Arizona said we particularly want that offense that we see him run over there, that exciting offense here in Arizona, where the weather is good and we can throw the ball all the time, and they pinpointed him, and they knew they were going to have Kyler Murray, I have no issue with them going after that. And that makes it all that much more important to have that man on the sideline when you're in the middle of a football game like they were yesterday, and they did not, and they still won that game. You're right, he is doing an incredible job.
Sounds to me like a great reason for the Cowboys to be concerned, but I'll leave it at that.
Well, every discussion we have is some way trying to get back to
it
how
always
can we
comes
get the
back
Cowboys
to him or the
knocked
Cowboys.
down. Right.
It's a theme with Stephen A.
Coming back to him
You'll
and
learn
trying
if
to
you
get
watch
a win
us throughout
over the
week.
Cowboys in some way.
Awesome.
Michael, it's Stephen A's world. Come on, don't you know?
So I guess that's what it is.
I did not hear you advise Cowboy fans to get refundable tickets. You need to advise them to get refundable tickets.
Still ahead on first take.
Get them tickets. That
Everyone was saying Chiefs, Bills, Chargers are the teams to beat in the AFC, but how